And like any other sports show out there, we're not going to really be dealing with a lot of facts. It's going to be our opinions. So come on, buckle up, join the ride, agree, disagree. Let's dive right into it. Welcome back, SEC sports fans. It's the Brew and Shavers SEC Sports Show, and we're glad that you tuned in. If you're listening to us through your favorite podcast platform or if you're watching us on YouTube, would you do us a favor before we jump into the show? Hit that like button, that subscribe button, get notified anytime new content comes out, and your like, your subscribe, and your comments help
Absolutely.
us to get the word out about this little show in our little corner of the sports podcast world, which is a multi-universe, Darren, that I think we only know about 3% of.
Exactly. Yeah, it is definitely a who's the Marvel? Is it Marvel that has the multi universes? They all kind of coincide, but they're all kind of separate. I think that's what sports on YouTube is, and we're nowhere near knowing just exactly how many universes there are for sure.
Well, here's the trivia question to start off. Not trivia so much as just here's your test.
Okay.
Tonight on the show, Darren and I will take on a lengthy discussion about politics, daylight savings time, the Super Bowl halftime show, or AI.
Uh-huh.
Cue the Jeopardy music. Don't
We're
we have a
gonna
tech guy to do that?
didn't we do acapella Jeopardy one time? Didn't we?
Where did that intern go? Today, we're going to take on AI. And here's the reason why. You can find just about anything that you're looking for on ChatGPT. And so we were playing around with this in terms of national champions, SEC champions in the future. And by we, I mean Darren was doing this because he is our computer guru, tech guy, and he decided to ask ChatGPT who the next
Next five.
five SEC and national champion winners are. We have that list for you, and we're going to talk about whether or not we think ChatGPT got this right or wrong. And like any other sports show out there, we're not going to really be dealing with a lot of facts. It's going to be our opinions. So come on, buckle up, join the ride, agree, disagree. Let's dive right into it.
All right. So here we are. This is, according to ChatGPT, it's really going to be a struggle of a show if I can never pronounce that correctly. Let's try that again. According to ChatGPT, these are the next five SEC champions. So
We've got
through 2030,
Georgia winning it twice.
Georgia
Texas
winning
winning
it
it
twice,
twice.
Texas winning it twice,
LSU sneaking in there,
LSU
2019,
sneaking in a
2029.
2029. According to ChatGPT, that is the year that everything Lane Kiffin is doing will start to take effect, according to ChatGPT. Obviously, the first thing that stands out to you is two Georgia, two Texases. What's something else when you look at this that stands out to you? I want to see if we're kind of thinking the same way.
Well, first I thought of some of the outlying states. Nobody, no Florida,
Yeah.
and no Oklahoma.
Interesting. That didn't even stand out. That's a good point. No Oklahoma.
And Ole Miss fans aren't going to like this.
No.
But then you start thinking, what else is missing here? And I started thinking about cities: Birmingham, Montgomery, Huntsville, Mobile. There's no. Go ahead, Darren. Say it. I just don't feel like saying a dirty word on the air right now.
We used to be a PG rated show, and then you had to say Alabama. Now, it really, that was the first thing that jumped out at me. You
Mm.
look at this list, and I think Oklahoma is a good catch too, especially with the way they're trending. But the fact that there's no Alabama on this list, another one that stood out to me, especially with Texas being on there twice, no Texas A&M. I think it's pretty
Mm.
obvious who Chat GPT thinks is going to win that game every year for the next several years. Not going to be A&M. It's obviously what AI is thinking. So really interesting. I find it intriguing that Georgia is two of the next three.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if some Chat GPT programmers were from Athens and Austin, maybe.
Powered by Dog Nation. Is that somewhere down in the terms and conditions? Or
Oh, goodness.
there might be something to that there. But yeah, that's and then of course Texas went into the next five. Is That's a pretty strong statement about Texas. I mean, if you buy it, of course,
Yeah.
this is just AI telling us AI things, whatever that means. But that's a pretty strong statement about Texas as well.
It's quite fascinating how they even come up with this because you don't know what the roster is going to look like, who's going to
Exactly.
be at the key positions. I mean, they're saying 2027, 2030 for Texas. We know Arch Manning's not going to be there in 2030. He's probably not going to be there in 2027.
Exactly. I would say, is ChatGPT saying Arch Manning is the problem? Oh, he
Oh,
doesn't know who he's crossing. You don't mess with the Mannings. What are we doing here? What? What? I'm off the ChatGPT train. I'm not doing it again.
wow.
You kind of put those together. Just saying.
That's some sci-fi stuff right there, Darren. How you connected the dots there.
I, I think the clear message being given to us by AI when you look at this list is Arch Manning is the problem at Texas, and Lane Kiffin was the only good thing at Ole Miss. I think that's clearly what AI is telling us. I
You
know
know,
people aren't going to like that, but hey, we're just we're just the messengers. We didn't we didn't write it.
if the show doesn't work out, Darren, you could probably get a job in DC. That's some incredible spin. I don't know. How do you do that?
I'm just I'm just looking at the dates and lining things up.
Well, who would you put on the list? Who do you think? Where did they get it wrong?
Well, I think it's with the parity that we have in the league now. I think it's a pretty big leap to for two teams to have four of the next five. I think we're going to continue to see more parity than that. I don't. That will be a real. I mean, you were doing some powerhouse things. If you're Georgia and you're Texas, if you're um, if you've got four of the next five in whatever combination that is, that seems very difficult to me with where the league stands now. I don't think, and man, Alabama fans are not going to like this at all. I don't think it's that much of a stretch to say it's at least a possibility that Alabama will not win an SEC championship over the next 5 years. I don't
Mm,
think they've shown enough consistency where the program is now. I think some things have to change at Alabama before you can say, oh, I mean, obviously they're going to be, they're going to be a contender next year. They're going to be a contender. They're going to be on the list every single year because they're Alabama,
hmm.
but because they're Nick Saban's Alabama. It won't
Yeah.
necessarily be because what's actually happening there. So I don't think I think the big thing is to say only two teams are going to win four of the next five. But I think the one thing that I can kind of see, okay, might not make Alabama fans happy, but I get it. I don't think it's this enormous stretch for Alabama to not be on the list.
Yeah. Yeah, that's and I don't know how much faith we can put in this. We can't. I don't put a whole lot into it. Have you
No.
ever taken a picture and put it on Chat GPT, or what's the other oh, Grok? Isn't that the other
There's
version that
Grok, and I think there's a Gemini in that like Microsoft's Gemini.
maybe?
There's a ton of them, but yeah,
But you ever take it like a picture and it says it can animate it for you, and when it
yes,
animates it, the people's faces totally change. It's not who's in the picture. So I think about that when I think of something like this. I'm like, really? Maybe they know there's going to be a national champion and an SEC champion. They
right.
just get the logos confused.
Exactly. And there you go. And another thing, when you see people create an AI picture from scratch and like one of them has like an extra thumb or a sixth and seventh finger or something, so we gotta you know,
Yeah,
is Texas and Georgia that second time just the sixth and seventh finger? Is that what we're dealing
I know.
with?
It's like that guy that killed Inigo Montoya's father. Remember Princess Bride?
Oh yeah, yeah,
You killed my father, now prepared to die. What was his
yeah.
name? Was it? Did I mispronounced it? In,
I don't know.
Inigo? I
Princess
thought it
Bride.
was. We need someone to jump in here and
And tell us who that is. Now, Princess Bride, isn't that the movie that had Andre the Giant, the wrestler, in it?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Andre the Giant, Billy Crystal, is that right? Or am I mixing
yes,
up movies? Okay.
yes, yes. Inigo Montoya, Mandy
Inigo
Patinkin
Montoya.
played him. Yep, Inigo
Who played him?
Montoya, Mandy Patinkin.
Oh, wow. Is that a
Man,
name
he's
you've heard
73 years
outside?
old now.
Really?
Sorry, this is the high level tech. I'm doing research while we're recording right now. So
Heartbreaking research where you talk about ages of people in movies that we watched a long time ago.
yeah. Well, come on, man. The 80s was only what 20 years ago.
It is. We may have talked about this before, but when was having a music conversation with my son, and he was talking about Love and Journey. I was like, dude, that's music nowhere near your generation. He was like, yeah, but it's good, even though it's old. And I was like, it's not that old. And then we started doing the math when we were having that conversation, and him talking about Loving Journey would be the same time distance when I was his age, at what the age was that he was at the time we were having this conversation, of me sitting around talking about loving um, sock hop music, Buddy Holly. It's that
Wow.
same stretch of time. That was very painful to a realization.
That's a little sobering.
Yeah, it might have been a couple more than 20 years ago.
Yeah. Wow. It wasn't that long. It was the anniversary just recently of that the plane crash that killed
Buddy Holly, yeah,
Buddy Holly and the Big
the big
Bopper and Richie
bopper, and
Valens.
yep,
The day the music died.
yep. Oh, and it wasn't that hadn't been that long ago. That was like the 35th anniversary of that song or something like that, right?
Hmm. Yep.
Don
Don
McLean.
McLean, American
Yep,
Pie.
yep. Great
Huh.
song.
Speaking of musicians that died recently, did you see the lead singer for Three Doors Down, Brad Arnold?
I did.
Yes.
I hated to see
Wow.
that.
Isn't that
I'm
horrible?
very, very, very thankful that we had the opportunity, both you and I, actually with our sons,
Mhm.
and or at the in Bossier City, the Creed, Three Doors Down, and
Wolfgang,
Wolfgang, yeah, whatever his Mammoth
Mammoth,
WBH or
Mammoth.
whatever, yeah, that show, and it was absolutely incredible, and Three Doors Down was phenomenal.
Hmm. Yeah, they sure were. They sure
I
were.
saw
So,
them. I saw them live 15 years ago, and then
mhm.
saw them again, obviously last November, and really genuinely, you could say, 15 years later, they were even better than they were when I saw them the first time. It was a fantastic show.
Yeah. What's the best concert you ever been to in a sporting venue?
In
Or
a
what's the best halftime show you've ever seen at the Super Bowl? I worked it in there. You see that? Woo.
Is there any better halftime show than Prince?
I tell you, that was amazing. The rain pouring. That was in Miami, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Purple Rain playing while it's pouring rain. Absolutely fantastic. Now, I know yours is probably Tom Petty. Wasn't he a halftime show?
Yeah, I love Tom Petty,
Yeah,
but you got to give that's got to be, if that's not the top, that's right there at the top.
absolutely. I can't think of one
Yeah.
that would have been better.
Hmm. Yeah. So this list we have on the screen is
Mhm.
ChatGPT projected national champions.
Well, this is the SEC champions.
These are SEC champions. All right.
Yes.
Well, what about the national champions?
Well, before we get to national champions, I also asked ChatGPT to predict the next five basement dwellers in the SEC.
Oh, now you're really going to get people riled up.
And now, according to ChatGPT, here is the last place team for the next 5 years in the SEC.
I I I yield the floor to you, my friend.
So, according to ChatGPT, a 10-2 team that should have been in the playoffs, I think we've made that case. A 10-2 team that should have been in the playoffs is going to be the bottom team next year. And of course, that's Vanderbilt, for those of you that are listening. And I'm going to be very pragmatic. I do not like it. It hurts my feelings, but I've been a Vanderbilt fan long enough to go, eh, I can't argue. I feel like
Mm.
things are going to be better, but Vanderbilt has pulled off even more incredible than that in a negative way over the history of the football program. I'm pretty sure Vanderbilt football was the origination of the phrase snatching victory out of the or snatching defeat out of the jaws of victory. So crazier has happened in Vanderbilt. I'm choosing to believe it's wrong. I think things are better, but nonetheless, according to ChatGPT, Vanderbilt's going to be the bottom team 2 of the next 5 years. Very interesting that Mississippi State and Arkansas also on this list. I think Arkansas, honestly, is the one that stood out to me the most because that's kind of an out of nowhere. If you take a shot at Vanderbilt, if you take a shot at Kentucky, if you take a shot, honestly, at even Mississippi State, the way, if you look at their last, I mean, this year was obviously an improvement, but prior to that, been some tough years. Uh, so that's not just out of nowhere, but man, Arkansas, even though they haven't been great, that's that's the thing that stood out to me the most outside of Vanderbilt being on there after a 10-2 year. Arkansas is kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah. The difference in Vanderbilt in the past and today is, I think, Clark Lee and what he's building there.
Agree.
Um, I, yeah, there's going to be you lose a player like Diego Pavia, there might be a drop off there, but I think they're now getting recruits coming there, serious
Exactly.
recruits,
Yeah, absolutely.
five-stars, 4 stars, and I don't see Vanderbilt. I just don't see Clark Lee that happening during his
Agree.
tenure, where they go from 10-2 to the basement.
And I agree completely. And I think you can. One of the biggest differences is exactly what you just said, the people that they're pulling in now. Because during the James Franklin years, he took a bunch of 3-star guys and coached them up to a level that no one had ever done at Vanderbilt.
Mhm.
But you could see pretty immediately that the guys that were coming in over those first couple of years that James Franklin was there were already not panning out. It was still very dependent upon that core kind of crew. And when they graduated, the next year, the year after he left, or the year he left, all those guys graduated. Derek Mason comes in, and they have 2 wins because that entire group uh, graduated. That was the core of that. I think we see now what they did last year in the portal, what they've been able to do this year in the portal, where they've picked up from 4-star guys, gotten wide receivers from Alabama, things like that. And then you have I think were they in top 30 something like that, top 30, top 35 recruiting class. That's just not the land Vanderbilt lives in very often. So I think that's what Clarkley is showing he can sustain in getting people there to continue the process and continue what they're doing is definitely the big difference.
Yeah. And the verdict's still out. We both like Jeff Levy, but Mississippi
But
State has a lot of issues. Can he correct those?
yeah,
I am surprised by Arkansas. Kentucky doesn't surprise me,
no,
but
no, but an interesting list. It's like you said when we were talking about the SEC champions. I mean, we're talking about getting this information from a service that can throw seven fingers on anybody. So,
oh, nice.
so do you want to take a look at our national champions now?
Let's move on to the projected national champs.
According to ChatGPT, here are your next five national champions in order from next year through 5 years from now: Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, LSU, and Georgia. So, again, first thing that stands out to me is you've got not back to back, but in the next 5 years, you've got a repeat national champion being Georgia.
Hmm. Yeah, and only one Big Ten school.
Yep, only one non-SEC school. Period.
Where's Indiana?
Yeah, exactly. I think what ChatGPT is telling us is they don't foresee an Indiana Vanderbilt national championship game next year. I think that's what they're telling us.
You might want to go ahead and place a bet on that because if it actually happens, Darren,
We all getting rich.
yeah, there will be signs, won't there?
Yeah. I also find it interesting if you think back to the SEC championship list. The year in 2026, Georgia wins the SEC championship according to ChatGPT and the national championship. 27, Texas wins the SEC championship and the national championship. 29, LSU, the exact same thing. But in 2030 or in 2028, Georgia is the SEC championship or champion, and Ohio State wins the national championship. And in 2030, Texas is the SEC champion, but Georgia is the national champion.
Hmm.
So I find that pretty interesting as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Who knows? Who knows? It's fun to ponder, and of course, these are going to be completely wrong. But if one of them is right, we're going to be going, "Oh my goodness, how
That's
did they
exactly right.
know?"
We'll be like Zoltan and Tom Hanks if one of them's right. When that Zoltan in Big
Mhm. Zoltar.
Zoltar, that's what it was. Yeah.
Now, I'm sure if we had uh, Doug the Buckeye on here, he'd say Ohio State, Ohio State, Ohio State, Ohio State, Ohio State. If we
Absolutely.
had locked on Ole Miss, it'd be Ole Miss, Ole Miss, Ole Miss. As long as Trinidad St. Chambliss gets another year, another year, another year, another year.
And if we had locked on Ole Miss, he would, without hesitation, tell you this doesn't surprise him at all because he has known for a long time that Lane Kiffin was actually the one who runs Chat GPT. It's just Lane Kiffin doing the replying.
Hey, you give him props. He's passionate about his team.
He brings it. He steps it up a notch in his passion for his team. You got to give him that. I
Yeah.
think if we had Brandon on, he would be wondering about the SEC championship and where's the Volunteers. I think he would.
Yeah, he may not be in a talkative mood. The Tennessee women, we were so high on Kim Caldwell, and they
Yeah.
just suffered their worst regular season loss ever.
Well, the positive side is if you're a Tennessee fan, a lot of times, hopefully, what happens for them is that's the kind of stuff that kind of wakes people up. It's one of those that had their worst defeat ever, and then rolled off 10 in a row or something. It kind of wakes up the team. So hopefully for them, that's what happens. So
Yeah, yeah, certainly a loss like that can be galvanizing.
absolutely.
Absolutely. We'd like to hear your picks. Who do you think is going to win the national championship in the next 5 years? The SEC championship. Do you agree with AI, or who's on your list? We'd love to hear from you.
We would
Uh,
love to hear.
Send us your comments. Let us know who you're picking. We're in the dry season right now. Football is over. The
Talking season.
last little snippet of it went away with the Super Bowl last night.
Yep.
Congratulations, Seattle. A lot of SEC players in that game, by the way. Now we're waiting eagerly for the arrival of March Madness and college baseball starting, which is always a fun
That's right.
time in the SEC. So enjoy watching those sports. We're going to keep talking about college football. We're going to dig into a little bit of basketball and hit some other areas. If there's something you'd like to hear us discuss, send us a note. Let us know. We'd be happy to talk about that. Hit that like button, that subscribe button. We'll see
And
you next week.
oh,
And
before we see you next week, I do have one. Speaking of things that are coming up, Fat Tuesday at time of recording is a week away. Any king cake updates?
well, we had a friend of the show
That's right.
go down to New Orleans and bring us back some.
And how was it? There's just something about New Orleans when it comes actually from New Orleans, isn't it? There's just something about it.
Well, before I even opened it, I could already taste it, and it tasted good because it's from New Orleans. And so
Exactly.
appreciate Paul for bringing that up. It was delicious. We enjoyed it. We had family over to watch the Super Bowl, and
Nice.
we all partook generously of that king cake. So it was a hit all the way around. How about you?
Oh, I absolutely had king cake straight from New Orleans, uh, courtesy of Paul and Diane. Very excited. It was very good. And I'm not the biggest of cream cheese king cake people, but it was New Orleans king cake. So I mean, yeah, it was good. It was great, not just good.
Yeah,
And I think
absolutely.
there are some king cake cookies that
Hmm.
we might have a live conversation about between now and Fat Tuesday. Just throwing it out there. We'll see. We'll see. But
It's
I've
certainly going to
heard
be.
rumblings of a king cake cookie that is a must. Just saying.
Mm, certainly going to be fun to talk about and to
Absolutely.
taste next week.
Yep.
So thanks for watching the show. Until next time, y'all take care.
Have a great week.